ACCA papers that are the most important for a CFO's job. When I was a student myself, I would work for a Big Four company. So back at that time, financial management had nothing to do with me. Performance management, nothing to do with me. I basically cared about audit and insurance and IFRS-based exams such as financial reporting, diploma in IFRS, and corporate reporting, so the previous version of SBA. But I loved studying and the knowledge seemed to be exciting, and when I learned about the financial management, the hedging, and all those techniques, I wanted to apply those. So I changed my career and I started working as a CFO. Then what happened? Then I realized that whatever I have learned in ACCA is something that I apply in daily life. So, for example, when we're talking about the company that has never had a CFO or had a CFO, but it was not a very knowledgeable one, we start with the dashboard. And that is the core subject of advanced performance management. And because I loved this very paper a lot, I actually knew how to do that, how to persuade the stakeholders that we need to change the dashboard. And when we have the dashboard that works, it works magic. I applied lots of other techniques. So for example, back then we had a topic about insolvency, and we had those non-financial techniques that would help us to identify whether our client could be problematic or not. I would apply them to new contracts. Or when we're talking about the KPIs and the motivation, again, Vroom's expectancy model, Lynch and Cross performance pyramid, that is something that I used a lot. When we're talking about the performance management, the knowledge of it helped me with the budgeting, with visualizing the causes of problems. So, for example, the variances. It allowed us to recalculate the relevant cost, and as such, we would be able to talk about the cost of one-off decision. So, what is the minimum amount of money that we can agree to sell our product at? When we talk about financial management, it was my day book. So, for example, when I came to the company was in a very bad state cash flow-wise, and they couldn't understand why. The problem was overtrading, because they grew up from being a small company to becoming a large company with millions of revenue. And they just needed to have their loans increased. And they thought that their amount of loan, which was significant, was okay. It wasn't. And I was able to explain why. And we took the extra loan, and suddenly the business started to work as a well-oiled machine. When I worked as a CFO for that very company, we had different offers for different loans in different currencies, like euros, like dollars, and so on. And because I knew how to compare the actual return in different currencies, thanks to the financial management, I was able to take the cheapest option. I also knew what to do with the leasing, and I were able to discuss, to justify why leasing was better or worse for us. We had to buy a company, and there the information that was very useful was the problems with the joint ventures. So these were the risks that we were able to envisage thanks to my knowledge of advanced performance management. Budgeting and the forecasting NPV was a vital skill that I obtained during my financial management and advanced financial management studies. And that is something that we used when we planned to expand. Of course, IFRS, because we had to transform our accounting to IFRS accounting. That is something that was widely used, and the SBR skill to justify why our approach is relevant, why our approach is in line with IFRS, is something that helped me, because we had different auditors, because we went through due diligences twice, and so on. So that was the skill and the knowledge that I would apply quite often. Now, as for law, theoretically it's great to have the basic understanding. It was quite basic, and I think that basic knowledge helped me, but it's not something that was super important to me because we had a special person that would review the contracts. I would review them from the financial point. When we're talking about taxes, that is something that is quite niche. I didn't work with those because we had a person, a tax consultant, and I think that for many companies, this is the cost that is well justified. And if you are not an expert in taxes, I would suggest that you don't waste your time there because you really need to be up to date with everything. So maybe it's not the most important part of the exam. However, the basic understanding of, let's say, what VAT means and so on is, of course, important. As for strategic business leader, well, it's a great exam because quite often you need to change something in the business and you need to be up to date so that you wouldn't go into the strategic drift. But frankly, I would say that APM would be more relevant because it still gives you the ability to think about the future, but IPM is more aligned with daily activities. So to sum up, the exams that are the most important to a CFO's career, from the most important to least important. Advanced performance management, an absolute must. Financial management, an absolute must. Then strategic business reporting, and of course financial reporting and all other IFRS-based exams. And then maybe advanced financial management, although my understanding is that whatever we learn there can be too much for the majority of businesses because the stakeholders may be not okay with you hedging. So they will be afraid of all those forwards, futures, and so on. You may never actually buy another company, so all that all those methods that you use of evaluating the price of the company may not be applicable to you. And that is why I teach such a wide range of topics. I teach IPM, SBR, FM, and PM privately because I strongly believe in these very exams, because I have experience, because I know a great knowledge and I have the skill to visualize and make the story based on those numbers. And with SBR, I have a fantastic course which I designed to make it more available because, of course, not everybody can buy for private classes, but this course is still fantastic. It has lots of my explanations, perfectly visualized content, and on top of that, it has me, because it will be me who will be answering your questions. I don't delegate it to anyone. It will be me who is going to review your attempts and give you valuable comments. I don't delegate it because I think that this is the core value that I provide. It will be me teaching the skills and the life hacks that you need in order to pass the exam. So, SBR course, my new love, I would recommend you a lot because that is not only written by a person who had groups with 100% pass rates for SBR, but also it's written by a person who has practical experience in it. And I hope to see you there. Please follow the link below to see the details about it. And I will see you next. Bye.